Hi everyone, I'm Phil from Phil's Train Layout. So recently in the last video, I had showed you that I had printed off this front building, the front wall from a building that I'm making. This is a design that I had done on Tinkercad. So I think I'll take you through a process to show you this building front that I had printed off. This is one that I had downloaded off of a free 3D site. So I'm going to create the rear three walls for this building front and show you what I did to create that on Tinkercad. For this building here, I had created this three wall sections. I put it all together in one piece, printed it off. This side is 2.5 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters, and 2.5, and this partition wall is actually 2 millimeters. And that took, on normal printing, that took just over 5 hours to print that off. So that was one that you set it and make sure that it's printing well, and then I went to bed because I didn't want to finish watching it. Even though it amused me to continue to watch it, but as you can see, it all lines up in there, and all I have to do is glue that together, put the floor in here, and a roof on, and we're good to go. So this will make a good little addition to my layout. So I'll have two little stores in here of some kind of retail store or whatever in my main town. So I'll take you over to the computer, and I'm going to modify that drawing that I did in Tinkercad to fit this building. Hi everyone, I'm back. So this is Tinkercad. It's a free software that's online. You sign into your account. You can save all your progress, your files. You can download your files to your computer. It's actually a fairly simple program. I'm sure there's actually way more expensive ones out there that you can use that have a lot more different variety of changes and modifications that you could make. But this one here is actually free. It's a basic program, and it actually works very good for what we need to do. So this building here, this is actually what I had just shown you for the first building that I had printed off to create the last three walls. I just did basic walls. I didn't do anything fancy with them. I just wanted to put basic walls on them, and then I'll use a blade or something just to scribe in brickwork later on. But you can do brickwork on these, but I believe it would have to be printed flat on the bed to be able to get finer detail as you're rising in the layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this building front and I'm going to modify these back walls just to make them fit this wall. So I've already started. So what I'm going to do is, I don't need this wall, so I will just delete that wall. This wall here, I did come to the conclusion that I think I wanted that wall to be, I believe I wanted that wall to be 90 or 95, I think 95 millimeters. So this here, that's the total height of your wall. So I can put it at 95 millimeters and shoot that right up there. So that changed that wall. This wall here, I also wanted it to be 95. So I can change that number to exactly 95. So it's either I change that number there, or I can grab this dot and move the height for wherever I want it. Or I can grab this little arrow, I can just pull it straight up, which will raise it off of the print bed, which this is your surface. This blue area here, this grid, that's your printing surface. So we'll just continue on here, get all of these walls, 95, they're all the same. Now you can group things together, so like these here, that was just a little corner wedge and just a little tiny shelf that I had put in there to put the floor so it has something to rest on. It's very tiny, so I have that one on this wall set at 45. So I'll change that one also to 45. And I had this one set at, let me grab it here. There we go, 85. Change that one to 85, which it moves up that group. So this little ledge right here, that will be the support for the roof, and this one here will be the support for the roof. So that's at 85 and that's at 90, so that's that would be a 5 millimeter lip around the roof, but I want that a little tiny bit shorter. So let's change that to 84 on those. So that's that part so far. So that's the basic height. So that will be basic full height. So it'll sit kind of like that on the front. So that's pretty close to where it's going to be, because I want my floor, my first floor, to be just above the main floor windows, and the second floor up there. So that kind of worked out kind of nice. Now what we're going to do is the total width of this wall. The total width of this wall is actually 70 millimeters. So I'll grab this wall, I will move it over so that it's exactly matching the corner of this wall, so I can get the full width of that wall. Then I will take that, I will change that number to 70, which will be the full width of the building. And then I can just grab this wall, zoom in just a little bit, and then use the arrow keys to just move this wall right over until there. Now you can see I've got perfect corner there, perfect corner overlap there, and then I forgot my wall supports. So let's move them over too. Oh, there it is. And you have to make sure that it's perfectly touching the wall or it won't print very well. Move that one over. And I'm just using the arrow keys for this, just to make sure. And now I have to make sure that they are touching. Oops, I just dropped my keyboard. So make sure that little corner wedge there, because I changed the width of this wall to just 2 millimeters instead of 2.5. Now if you can see here, oops, there we go, did it again, back. You can see right down in there, see that's not touching the wall because I moved it slightly. I changed the width of this wall so all of these little corner wedges came off. So you just hit the arrow key, there, now it's all connected again. And I'm pretty sure I had these all the same over. Can't see that very well. Yeah, see, that one was also not quite touching the wall. So just making sure that those are all touching or they're not going to print. Okay, there we go. Now it's touching the wall. Everything's good. So again, like a very sweet and simple program. It's nice and easy to use. Any novice can use these. I have used some of these programs in the past. I do have a bit of an architecture background as well. That's originally what I went to school for, but so this is kind of right down my alley for designing buildings and whatever else, and it is actually an enjoyment of mine. So this is kind of extra fun, even though it's not real life. You know, I get to design some buildings, print out my designs that I've done, which is extra cool, and then go from there. And then I can display my architecture skills on my layout. So let's see, what else do we think we need to do here? I'm not going to put any doors in the back. This is just a small little shop just to fill the town beside the layout. The front is basically all I really want to show on there. Walking down the main street. If I was to put in some windows and doors and stuff on these, it'd probably be better to print each wall individually and then lay it flat on the bed. So instead of printing it upright like I'm going to do with these walls, you'll want to print it laying flat, so when the print head is going around, it can cut out, more or less, like print out the door, just like kind of did with this one here. So it'll print that out, and it'll leave that exposed to be able to put a door in there. So that would be like the same idea here. So you just build it flat on the bed and then print all the walls individually, and then just glue them all together. So what I need to do now is, because this wall, if you can see it on the edge there, this wall, the way it was printed, it has a little bit of it has a 45-degree angle right there on the edge. So I'm going to have to create a 45-degree angle on here. So I am going to take, let's take a wedge, and we will rotate it. Oops, wrong one. We'll rotate it. I can grab it here. Let's get a little closer. So grab there, and I'll rotate it to 90 degrees. That way. Oh, wow, went 91. What a bugger. So I'll have to go back 1 degree. There. So now that that is perfect there, now I have to rotate it 90 degrees, and it did it again. I should have just typed in the number. Oh, I went the wrong way. Alright, I think that's right. Yeah, and because you have your grid square here, you'll be able to see if you have it perfect or not. So it all lines up there, so I have this perfectly square again. Or there is a different way to do it. You just touch that, and then you go to your just type in your degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, whatever angle that you want, you just type it in there. It's probably a little faster and a little easier than what I just did there, but so I'm going to use this as a cutout. So right up here in the corner, this is the shape that you have selected. So you hit whole, which makes it invisible. So what it's going to do is, as you bring it in here, so that is going to cut off a 45-degree angle right here, because that's 45. So it's going to chop that off. So now what I'll do is I will raise the height of this block by grabbing that little square. So I want to raise this up to the top. So I cut that full angle off all the way to the top. And then I want to join that. Grab my keyboard that I dropped on the floor. So now I'm going to grab that. I'm going to hit Shift and select the wall, and then all the pieces that are attached to the wall. So I want to select that, and I want to select that, and then right up here, you can see in the top right of your screen, this little here, that's ungroup, and this is group. So I want to click group. So now what it'll do, it'll take this piece, the wall, because I have 4 items selected, so that's 1, 2, 3, and this triangle invisible piece. So now it is going to remove all that highlighted area in there, and it's going to chop that off. So I just want to make sure that I have I should probably before I do that, I should actually make sure that I have that right on the angle there, right on the edge. So, but before I chop that off, I'm going to go one more step. I'm going to copy this, which is right up there. You can see it there. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to move it all the way over here. It's like this. I'm going to rotate that 180 degrees. Now, try again. Now I'm going to have to go all the way back around. Should have been 90 degrees. So, because I want to chop off this corner at the same time. So, I'll use my arrow keys. I'll move this over so that it cuts that off. Make sure that's above the wall. Let's make sure that's above the wall. Okay. Yeah, sometimes getting to know all the three functions on your mouse button. Oops, I just moved the wrong one. I'll select that one. Make sure it's right on the edge of the wall. Right on the edge of that corner. Just like that one is. Right on the edge of that corner. Just like that. So I can create that 45 degrees so that it fits together with that outside section of the wall. So now that I have those all together, now I'll group it all together and I'll show you how to take that out. So now, select that one. 1, 2, 3 groups, 4 items. And then, so I put my finger, I'll just move you over here a little bit, just like that. 4 items selected. I'll hit group, and then it'll render that all together, and boom. So now, these 4 pieces are now connected together, and because I had that triangle invisible, it just cut that piece out and created that angle. So now I'll do the same to the other side here. I'll hit shift. I'll select each of these pieces. 4 items all together. I'll group those together. And bam. All done. So that's all grouped together in one piece. So now if I select that, and now I've got all different colors. So if I wanted to have all my walls different colors, I select the back one. You know, I can make that one green. I can make that one red. I can change the color to another color. You know, it's almost like you're doing layer colors, so that it all doesn't blend in together if you're working on different pieces. That way you always know where that other piece is. But So I just selected all three walls, and the color itself doesn't print out. It prints in whatever color of filament you're using. So just in case somebody's wondering and somebody's asking. So that is actually what it does. So there is the basic wall. I am totally not worried about putting in windows, because these walls here are going to be in a row of buildings, so they'll all be butted together on the sides. But if I really want to put a wall in or a door in on the back, I'll either reprint that back wall and just put a couple doors in and whatever, and I'll just print it flat. Or what I'll do is just use an X-Acto knife and just cut it out and put a door in. It's not overly difficult, and this PLA, it is fairly stiff, but again, it is pretty easy to cut. You know, it's so that's the building so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export that. I like saving all my exports into an object, which creates a zip file on my hard drive. That way I can either send it to someone else as a pre-existing zip file if anybody wants the file, you know, boom, there it is. You know, I can share it with whoever, and then they can pull it into their own Tinkercad and modify it however they want. That way I always have a copy of it, and then I export it into an STL file, which is for Cura, and Cura is the slicing program that I use, and it's also very, very straightforward as well. So I'll go into here. I will click on that file that I just saved. So town building. Now it'll bring it up in Cura, and I'll be able to save it onto my SD card, and then I'll go over to the printer and print it off. Hi everybody, I'm back. So this is the file here that we had just saved. I brought it up into Cura, Ultimaker Cura, which is the slicing program. It is almost exactly the same setup as Tinkercad, but what this program does is it takes your design from Tinkercad, it slices it into the settings, slices it into little layers, so that your 3D printer can print it on the print bed. So this box at the bottom here, this is approximately exactly the same size as your print bed, as a standard print bed. Most print beds are about the same size. You can pay more and get a bigger size one, but you know, they are still fairly expensive for the bigger ones. And then your print beds, of course, get smaller, and so I think you can set the size of your print bed to the type of printer that you're using, which would be up here to the left. There's a spot there for selecting your different printer, and then you'll have your own print bed size sitting there. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. So because this is just a basic wall, I don't really care too much about how fast it prints, and there's no super detail or anything to it, so I just put it on normal printing. normal is fairly fast speed. I think I'm doing 60 millimeters a second, which is standard fast speed. Like it's one of the default settings, I believe, is 60. For the inset of the walls, the infill, I'm just doing 20%. So I changed the infill to 10%, and it didn't really change it a whole lot, because it's not very thick wall. It's only 2 millimeters, and there's not really anything in there anyway. It's mostly just line buildup, and it only saved 15 minutes. So I'm gonna leave it that way anyway, at 15 minutes. So I have my SD card in here right now, so I'm good to go. And I always create a base when I create anything. I believe this is called a geez, a grid. No, that's not a grid. That's my infill. Heck, I can't even find it now. Support, I believe. No. So I believe it is called a skirt of the one that I'm creating here. A brim, I believe, is just a line that goes around. And there was also another one that raises the entire level of your print up one by putting a one whole layer down before it starts printing. I don't like that one so much. I just like having the skirt around. It also helps stick your print to the print bed and make sure that when it's printing, it doesn't move or shift on you. It just gives it an extra secure to the print bed. These little settings here for speed, yes, I am starting to learn what each one of them mean a little bit more. So wall speed, I believe that is the outside edge layer.